Time for another media guide program opening. I do have some standbys because this one feels a little thin. I think I know what this one is. This was from California in December, and I was correct. This is what I thought it was, and it is kind of thin. This is my first boxing program. I'm going to try to do more of those when I can get them cheaply. Boxing programs, for some reason, are expensive because I guess not as many people do them anymore, but they usually cost a pretty penny. This one is a Don King Productions from Cleveland with Roberto Duran against Nino Gonzalez on August 9th, 1981. This is the first fight for Roberto Duran after the infamous No Mas against Ray Leonard. And this is, as you can see, when you talk about thin, thin is what you're getting. Because when you open it up, you have the Ohio Lottery, a couple local eateries, and the card. And then on the back, the best tasting Chablis in America. So when you say thin, it is thin. I don't necessarily know who. Well, I know Roberto Duran wins this fight by decision. Michael Dokes defeated Harry Terrell. I'm not sure who won Ralph Moncrief against Super Bad Mays. I do know Mark Holmes won. Lightning Lonnie Smith won. He would eventually become a champion at junior welterweight. Bernard Benton became a cruiserweight contender. And Sterling McPherson was a solid lightweight. I don't know who won Ralph Moncrief and Bernard Mays, though. Well, we're really glad that we brought standbys tonight, as it looks like we will need them. This particular standby comes from Georgia, and it was sent on October 19th, 2020. So let's see what we have here. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry about the fade to black there. This is put in a little awkwardly, but we pull it out and we have, that's the eBay receipt and a piece of cardboard, an Aquan cardboard. This looks like literally the end of like the old school scrapbooks from the times long gone by. Well, I bet you this scrapbook is probably 50 plus years old by itself. That's awful interesting. This is a 1974 Cleveland Indians program that I bought mainly because of the very cool cover. Look, it has the Indian logo that they were using in 1974, the Wahoo inside the circle, and it has the various team logos of the rest of the American League. This was before the Toronto Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners joined the league, and has my favorite logos of a couple of the. I love that's my favorite Oriole logo, my favorite Brewer logo, and my favorite Texas Ranger logo. I wish that none of those three would have ever messed with that. Okay, let's see what we have here. 7 full lines of cars, more of those beautiful 1970s boats. The Indians schedule. The Indians in 1974 played over their heads, and they were actually in contention until a late fade in early September put them out of the race. They wound up finishing with a losing record, and their manager, well, we'll get to him shortly. This is when Nick Milletti was the president. Nick Milletti, longtime owner. At that time, he also owned the Cavaliers and the WHA Crusaders, so he was the king of Cleveland sports at this particular time. Phil Segui, who was the GM. This is during the time that Gabe Paul had left Cleveland and went to the Yankees, and he would return later. Phil Segui is also the gentleman that was quoted in Terry Pluto's book about the Indians as most likely to look like Chief Wahoo. And then we have cigarettes that lead the league in taste. You won't see that anymore. And there's the manager, Ken Aspromonte. Aspromonte kept the team in surprising contention, but the team traded for Frank Robinson late in the season, and the pressure was on, apparently, that he felt that the Indians were greasing the skids for him to replace him with Robinson, which is what happened, but Aspromonte quit before Robinson could take the job immediately. This is an earlier no-hitter for the Indians. This is Dick Bosman, served the Orioles organization as a pitching coach, among many other teams. And he no-hit the Oakland A's, the world champion Oakland A's. It's a pretty strong lineup there. So, good for Dick Bosman. And the only thing that cost him a perfect game was Dick Bosman's own error. That's got to suck. There's some Indians action. I think that's Frank Duffy. John Lowenstein, all-time favorite of mine with the Indians and the Orioles. Jack Brohammer, names of passes. Gaylord confesses, me and the Spitter. I had this book in junior high school, middle school, whichever you prefer. Some kid had it, and I bought it off of him for the low price of 50 cents. I gave the kid 50 cents. I went without lunch that day, and I bought the book, and it is still at my house somewhere. The Bob Big Boy Game Stopper Special, 10 cents strawberry pie. More Indians action. More beer. More action with the famous afro of the late Oscar Gamble. Lots of cigarette ads. Welcome back, Larry Doby, the first ever African-American player in the American League, which in 1974 they still called the first Negro to play. Times have changed a bit. Doby was a coach on Aspromonte's staff, but Frank Robinson would fire Doby when he would take over. A couple coaches, Clay Bryant, Tony Pacheco, Reddy Kilowatt. And there's an excerpt, apparently, from me and the Spitter with the various Gaylord Perry interactions with umpires. There's an autograph, facsimile autograph of shortstop Frank Duffy. Yeah, this is the scorecard and rosters. They were playing the Detroit Tigers that year in this particular game. And there's the list of the current pitchers that were in the league. That's always a nice touch. I always liked that they did that in a time that not everything had rosters listed. And there's Cleveland Municipal Stadium and their seating chart, lower and upper deck. Root for the home team. Vernon Stouffer. As in Stouffer's frozen foods that you can buy this day. Stouffer also had a hotel in Cleveland, and he's the person that sold the Indians to Nick Maletti when he ran into financial issues, when he merged his company with another one, with Stouffer's, with another company, and instead of taking money, he took stock. That company's stock tumbled, and Stouffer was in trouble. There's Danner Pressed with the various grips of breaking pitches. The 1974 Indians wearing those wonderful tomato soup red uniforms. The Perry brothers, Jim and Gaylord. Cleveland had Jim that particular year. I always love these. Indian souvenir price list. The souvenir program is 50 cents. An autographed team picture, which I'm sure had to be facsimiles. A color postcard of each player in a set, $3. A bobblehead doll, $2.75. Wouldn't mind having one of those from those days. Little League baseball bat. I imagine that is one that they could use in a game if they so desired. Coats. Giant fan button. Cigarette lighter. Inflatable baseball. Those always look really good, and they would last like 5 seconds because inevitably something would catch it on a nail or something and became essentially worthless. Indians large metal wastebasket, $8. American League blanket, $12. Looks like that looks like that's the most expensive thing here. is the American League blanket. Indian straw hat. Gaylord Perry action poster. Charlie Spikes action poster. Always love looking at those. As you watch some of these, you probably could tell. And then we have some more Indians in action. Hey kids, let the pros give you a baseball lesson. And half score baseball game. Indians retired numbers among not just the Indians, among the American League. Look at how few were retired then compared to current day. Home run kings, Hank Aaron. This was the season that Hank Aaron would pass Babe Ruth. Genesee beer. This is a friend of mine, good old Michael Miguelito. Don't call me Miguelito Landucci. Have a picture of him drinking a Genesee from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. He looks like he's about to vomit. Opposing stars throughout the league. The Tigers was the aging Al Kaline and Bill Freehand. The late Thurman Munson, the late Bobby Mercer. Ray Fosse, former Indian. Frank Robinson, soon to be Indian. Louis Tiant, former Indian. Dick Allen, who should be in the Hall of Fame. And then these are the Fleetwood albums that basically they would make at the end of the career, at the end of the year for the teams that have had good seasons. It was their version of the highlight films, but they were using audio because not as many games were on television back then. And then come to Marlboro Country. Okay, well, we had another standby, but we used these two for today. So we have boxing, what there was of it, with Roberto Duran against Nino Gonzalez. And this may be my favorite baseball cover. I haven't bought a lot of baseball guides, a lot of baseball programs, and the unopened pile, but that's definitely my favorite cover, and I can tell you that is exactly why I bought it. So, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you wouldn't mind, not that I get anything out of it, and we will see you next time.